Welcome to Throne Room Encounters. This is another episode that we are delighted to have you on board with us. Today is a very interesting day for us because we have a lady whose story will fascinate you but also encourage you. Are you there? Are you a single mom? Are you there? Are you looking for a way out in life? Let us hear this story of a woman that has recently rededicated her life to Christ and how the transitions of one level of life to the next brought her to the decision that Jesus Christ is the only Savior. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself. Let us know what your name is, what you do, who you are, and begin from when you were very young. So let's just take it away.
My name is Grace Ndinda. I'm a mother of 3, married. I work in a phone company, administrator in the administration department. I'm an orphan. Let's start from there. Okay. And I did not become an orphan very early. I became an orphan way later. But before that, when I was around 4 or 5 years, my mom employed a domestic worker, a male domestic worker, and he ended up violating me sexually, but not raping, or it was just the touching and all that. So for me, I did not know what was happening. So and he used to tell me, do not tell your mom or else. So I lived with that for a while until when I became a grown-up, and I went to high school. When I was informed to, my dad passed on, and it was tough. It was tough in the sense that the side of my father, they treated us in a different way from when my dad was alive. So it became so tough for my mom to look after us. We are 3 of us in our home, me as the second born, 3 boys and I. So, and apparently my parents contracted HIV. So when my dad passed on, my mom, it was not easy for her bringing us up because she didn't have a job, and it was not easy for her to get work. And she could come home today with a cake, tells us, this is what I could bring today for you guys to eat as supper. So we could take with strong tea and we could sleep. And the funny thing is that we could smell our grandmother's place. Food was being cooked, but we could not get the food from her. So it went on like that until the day when my mom passed on. And before she passed on, she told me that I needed to be strong. She told me that you are a strong girl. You've always been strong, stronger than your brothers, and I need you to be strong for your brothers and even for your own sake. So whether I am around or not around, I need you to always take care of you and take care of your brothers. And it was a tough decision for me to make, because I was like, we have a big brother, why not him being given that mandate of looking after us? But after my mom passed on, my big brother, he went into drugs. So when he went into drugs, he had a job, but when he went into drugs, drinking and smoking weed, things became tough for him. So as for me, I waited. My auntie took care of me. I went to college in 2007. I had stayed from 2004 to 2007. There I was just doing some work here and there, doing things just to earn that 1 shilling, because life wasn't that easy. So 2007, my auntie decided to take me to college. I went to college, and there is where life began.
So your auntie takes the responsibility. Yes. Auntie from which side?
My mom's side.
Your mother's side?
Yes, my mother's side. And her and her family, they were living in Tanzania. So I was brought to college, and I was put into I was not staying with anyone. I was put into a hostel. So because there was nobody to look after me, and in college, there is where you find all characters, all manner of characters. That is when now life for me began.
So your family at the time of death for your mom and dad, where were they living?
I'm born Mombasa, but now we moved to Machakos, and there is where my dad contracted the HIV. And I always say, I'm sorry to say, but he passed it on to my mom. And when that happened, we had to move back to Mombasa because my father's parents live in Mombasa. My grandmother and my aunties live in Mombasa. So when we went to Mombasa, there is where he passed on. But I was schooling in Machakos when he passed on. Yes.
So now here you are in Nairobi with no one. The one who is paying for you is living in Tanzania. And then the immediate paternal family is in Mombasa. So you're in Nairobi alone.
I did not want to live with any relative. I just wanted to stay in a hostel because I had experienced hostility with relatives and I did not want to do it anymore. So I decided I don't want to live with any relative. Just take me to a hostel where I'll be commuting from there to school. So before my uncle and my auntie took me to school, my uncle had to sit me down and tell me that, Grace, there are things that I'll have to tell you. If you get pregnant, that means that you are old enough to look after yourself. And he sent me to school. That is just what he told me. And if you get pregnant, then I will cut my helping. I will discontinue helping you to go to school. So when I went to school, I became friends with these other students whom we could go drinking from Friday to Sunday. You sleep 1 hour, you go back to the club and drink, you come back. On Monday you're in class, your eyes are all red, you have to take rest so that you can wake up and all that. I started drinking, I also started smoking bang, and then I met this lecturer whom we became friends. And in that point, for me, I wanted to be recognized. I wanted people to love me so I could do whatever anyone wanted me to do. If you want me to go out with you, I will go out with you. If you want us to go drinking, we will go drinking. If you want us to smoke, we will smoke, just for that acceptance, because I was looking for someone to accept me. Because I felt like no one was accepting me. So I wanted to please you so that you can accept me. And all this time I used to get saved and I backslide. I get saved and the people that I walk with, because they are not saved and they are people who believe in going out and all that, I end up backsliding. So when I met this lecturer, we became friends and one thing led to another. And before I knew it, I got pregnant.
What you had been warned about?
Yes, what I had been warned about. So when I got pregnant, I remembered my uncles once. And I asked myself, if I discontinue going to school now, what will happen to me? Who will take me to school? I don't have a father to run to. I don't have a mother to run to. If they discontinue helping me, what will happen? I will end up, so many things came into my mind. I will end up becoming a prostitute. I will end up maybe sleeping with men for money and all that. And what I did, when I told him that I was pregnant, he told me to abort.
The lecturer?
Yes.
Okay.
He told me I have to abort. And that moment, I looked at how many years I have in school, how many months I have remained in school, and I counted how many months I have to carry the pregnancy, and I knew before I delivered, I would have been cut off from my school. So what did I do? I gave in to the abortion. Yes.
Okay.
And I aborted.
You aborted?
Yes.
So he paid for it?
He took me to the hospital, paid for it. And I went, I aborted, I cried, and I decided I will not think about it. So what happens, I don't stop seeing him. We continue seeing each other. And 4 months later,
you're pregnant
I'm
again?
pregnant again.
Wow. Oh, no. Okay.
So this time I tell him, and he tells me, okay, let's keep it. So I decided, okay, let me keep it.
Was he taking advantage of your vulnerability?
Yes.
What age were you at the time?
I was around 23, 22, 23.
So to you, you translated everything that it was as love. So he tells you this time,
Let's keep it.
So you
So
decide, okay, we're gonna do this.
I decided, let me count how many months I have in school.
Again.
So I counted and I knew by the time I deliver, I would have graduated and my school fees would have been paid. So what I did is I kept the pregnancy to myself and him. I did not tell any of my relatives until when I was 5 months, when I went for my graduation. So I graduated, when I was 5 months and my uncle had already paid the remaining school fees plus my graduation and all that, that is when now I decided to disclose my pregnancy. And I told them that I am pregnant.
How was it taken?
It was taken badly. I was called a prostitute.
Wow.
I was called all sorts of names. People, the news traveled so fast that I was so shocked.
We are in the new technology world, so it's only a phone call away.
Yes.
So news is traveling to even your paternal side.
Yes. News is traveling everywhere. Everyone is being told that Grace is that, Grace is this, Grace is that. So what do? I decided I am not going to take anyone's whatever that they are saying to mind. I am going to get into this pregnancy and move on until my last day. And what happened is when I got to my 4th month, he phoned me and told me to abort.
So had it just occurred
Yes,
to him
that
you have decided to keep the kid?
Yes, that she's actually pregnant and she has decided to keep the kid.
So this is month 4, he tells you abort.
Abort.
And month 5, you're graduating.
Yes.
So in month 4, you are pretty much on your own.
I was pretty much on my own because from then when I declined, he told me then you are on your own. You will go for those clinics on your own. Don't ask me for money. And I told him it's okay. So what I did is that I went and told the owner of the school that I was in, the college, that I am not able to pay for the graduation, but please, I want to graduate because I wanted to use that money. First I got kicked out of the hostel. I was told that pregnant people cannot stay in the hostel. So I was like, okay, there is no problem. I looked for a house, a one-roomed house where I was paying 2,500. So I told the owner of the school, kindly let me graduate, but I will not give you the money for graduation. What you will do, you will hold my certificates until the day I will pay you that money. Then I can take my certificate. He told me it's okay. I went, graduated, I cleared my graduation, I went, started living, bought mattress, a carpet, the PVC, a stove, a cup, a plate, a spoon. It began like that until when I could not afford food anymore and I could not afford to pay the rent anymore. So what I did is one day I went to him and told him that I'm hungry and I don't have a place to sleep. He actually, I went to his house and he told me that he doesn't have any money to give me. He cannot buy me food and he cannot let me sleep in his house because there is another woman who is coming. Yeah. So the good thing is that I had some friends who lived there, who lived in that vicinity. So I called them and they told me, come, we'll give you food and we'll give you a place to sleep. So I went, they gave me food, they gave me a place to sleep. And they went like that until December when I decided to go, 31st I decided to go out with his sister. So his sister felt bad and told me that I have to tell she just told me, let's go and sleep at my place. So I went to their home. In the morning when I woke up, his sister took me to his mom, to their mother, and she told the mom, this girl, she's pregnant for your son, and he has refused responsibility.
Let us hold that thought because, ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that has happened to Grace Ndinda. It's important for us to follow this story to the end. And before we take a short break, I will just ask someone who is in the same situation as Ndinda, do not abort, because God has a plan for you. Regardless of how difficult your life is, do not give in into abortion, because God will surely turn your story as he did for Grace Ndinda. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome to the show again. In the first part of this show, we were hosting, and we are still hosting, Grace Ndinda, a lady who has been through the ups and downs, including an abortion. And before the break, I told someone watching us, abortion it's not an option. Do not do it. Do not give in into abortion. That child in your womb, if you're watching us right now, has a destiny in the hands of God. And God will lift you up the way we will find out the miracle that he did for Grace Ndinda. So Grace, your story is amazing. This man, in the 5th month, leaves you.
Yes.
And it's the same man that caused you to abort. Yes. You go and you meet the sister. And the sister then takes you to the mom. Yeah. So take us through that conversation.
The next question was, where are you going to deliver? And I told her that I am going to deliver to Pumwani. She said, no, my grandchild will not be born in Pumwani. You might be given another child, because that is that is what happens in Pumwani most of the time. So what she decided is that I will give birth in Kikuyu Hospital. So when my due date came, I went to the hospital. I just walked myself to the hospital. I was so tired. I just told the doctor, I'm tired and I want this baby out.
So at this particular point in time, where are you living? Do you have a house? Did she pay for you?
No, she did not pay for my house, but I lived in her house. She just told me, stay in my house until the day that you will deliver.
Where is the man at this particular point?
At his house.
Does he know you're living with the mother?
Yes, he knows.
Has he come to see you?
No.
Okay.
He doesn't
and is he
care.
even talking to you at the
No,
time?
no, no, no.
Wow.
Yes.
It must have been difficult.
It was difficult, because I used to cry and tell myself, if my mother was alive or my father was alive, then at least I would have run to them. They would have scolded me, but at the end of the day, they would have taken me in. So what happens is that my due date came. I went to the hospital, delivered, and in the morning, the first person that comes to see the child, it's him.
Okay.
And he tells me, thank you for giving me a baby girl. And now I am in shock, and I am wondering, what is wrong with this man? After all that drama that he made me pass through, now he has come to say thank you. And he's there telling me that he wants us to live as man and wife. And because I still wanted to be accepted,
You said yes?
I said yes.
Again?
Again.
Okay.
And I went back to his mom's place, and we stayed there. He moved from his house, from the one room he used to stay. He rented a 2-bedroom. We moved from his mom's place. I moved from his mom's place. We went to stay together. And that is when now things began. When I thought, because my friends had warned me, and my friends told me, he's not a nice man. He cheats on you left, right, and center. Just leave him. And I was like, no, I love him, and I have his child. I will stay with him. I will pray that he changes.
Oh.
Yes. The worst mistake
What every woman does.
Yes.
Okay.
You pray
so here you were in his house.
Yes.
He's still teaching in the same school where you are.
Yes.
But your school, you have graduated.
I have graduated, so I'm no longer there.
Yes.
Yes, I'm actually working at this point. I was working as a cleaner.
Okay.
So I used to get out of the house every day, go clean the toilets, the offices, and I used to be very happy. I used to be paid as little as 8,000. And my friends used to laugh at me that, oh, you are working as a cleaner, you have done hotel management, but now you are working as a cleaner. And I used to tell them, let me work, because that 1 shilling is helping me. Because I used to ask him for money to go to the salon, for money to buy this and that when I didn't have a job. And he used to tell me, I have 2 legs, I have 2 feet, and I have 2 hands, and I have eyes. I should go and look for that money somewhere else. Him is not giving me that money. So it used to be drama daily, drama daily, drama daily, until the day when I realized that he was cheating on me now properly, proper cheating on me. When I confronted him, he gave me a slap.
So he turned violent?
Yes, he turned violent. When he did that, I told myself, he will change. Maybe because he slapped me, then he apologized and told me that he will never do it again. But then the next time he did, he repeats the same thing. And again, in front of the child. Every time he hits me in front of the child. So he decides to bring his sister to live with us. And when his sister came, everything changed. I stopped becoming the wife and I became the visitor, because the house chores were being done by the wife. If it is to, the sister, if it is to cook, it is the sister. If it is to buy, to give money to go and buy shopping for the house, the sister. Everything he used to do it through the sister. And at some point I became so fed up, and I was asking myself, what am I doing in this house? And every time I used to go to the bedroom, pack my things, take my child, open the door, then I close the door and take my clothes back and I sit. And I ask myself, I am moving out, where am I going? I don't have a place to go. Where am I going? Why am I fooling myself? I'd rather die here than go and suffer outside there. So that fear made me stay in that house. Fear of the unknown, fear of what happens next.
At that time you're working?
At that time I am working.
And you
but I am looking at my
8,000.
Yes, I am looking at my salary and I'm looking at my daughter and I'm asking myself, will this really cater for both of us? It won't. And this man is here telling me, if you want to go alone, leave my daughter. And I'm here telling him I cannot leave my daughter behind. That cannot happen.
A child that he did not want?
Yes, a child that he did not want. So what happened is in 2012 December, he went out on a Sunday. I can't remember the date. He went out on a Sunday and I was in the house with my daughter. So when he came back, I was not feeling well. I was feeling very cold, so I went and laid down. So when my daughter went for her long call using the potty, she called me. And because I was not feeling well, I requested him to help me out with the girl. And that is when I was beaten like a dog. Wow. Thoroughly beaten. I had lied on my stomach, and I had covered myself fully, so I did not see him come. He came and gave me a blow in my spinal cord, and he started beating me from there. He just beat me and beat me and beat me and beat me and beat me. He removed me from the bed. He dragged me down to the sitting room. All this time my daughter is seeing what is happening, until it got to a point I begged to leave. I just told him, don't kill me, because he told me, today I will kill you. I told him, please don't kill me, let me go. Just let me go, I will go. Just let me go, I will go. And he told me, I'm giving you 5 minutes to go. I took 2 clothes. He called his sister came and took my daughter to his mom. I took 2 of my clothes and went.
This time you have been beaten?
Yes.
What time is it?
It's in the afternoon.
So you're not feeling well?
Yes.
But you just decided. That was what made you leave?
Yes, that was what made me leave. Because when he used to beat me, I used to pray. I used to ask God, please change him. Please make my marriage work. I don't want to leave. I don't want people to laugh at me. People to tell me, we told you. Please make this man change. But every time I prayed, things got worse. They never got better. They got worse. They got worse to an extent. I also lost interest in him. And now I became, even me, I wanted to explore what he was exploring. So what I did is that I just told him, let me go. And I moved out. I didn't know where I was going, but I was going.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you were fed up?
Because I was fed up now. I told myself, if I continue living here, I will move out, but I will move out in a casket. Yes. And there is no need of me moving out in a casket. My daughter will grow not knowing who her mother is. I'd rather just move out than move out dead. So I had to go. I went, stayed with my cousin for a few days, went to my auntie's place for some few days, and then I went to a friend's place for some few days until this friend, a very close friend of mine, she told me, come and stay with me until the day you get a bearing of your life. Because this time I had an inflation, rib inflation from inside. So I could not work. I had to stop working. And after that, after I got better, the good thing is that I got a job, another job. But this time it was in a family friend company. And when I was there, I was living with my aunt. And I remember this family friend one day told my aunt that I always release Grace to come home by 6. What time does she get to home? And my auntie was telling her 9. And she was saying, then that means she goes to sleep with men. And I asked my aunt, for real, I get out of work at 7. You live in Donholm. By the time you get to Donholm, you know the traffic, it's 9. What time do I even get to go around with other men? But now my auntie, I had seen this will bring conflict, so I moved out. I went and stayed with a friend. And the friend, I stayed with her for a while. I don't know what happened. Rejection again. She kicked me out.
So where is your child at this particular point?
This particular time, my child is with the grandmother, the father's mother. She's there. So what I do is that I move out, and then I start my life. Now, when I started my life, a friend of mine introduced me to this man, to this married man. And because at that point I hated men, and I hated marriage, and I hated anything to do with man in marriage, I decided, if people are having affairs with married men, who am I not to? And I get into this relationship with this man. I get into this relationship with this man in 2013. And it goes like that. He helps me to buy things for the house. No, not even him, but there were 2 of them. So
you were seeing 2 men?
2 men.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So one helps me to buy things. But then I get fed up with him. And after he has already finished buying what I wanted, I get fed up. And I continue with this other one that my heart, for me, it was love.
Yes.
But it was not love.
Yes.
So I stick to this one man. And when I stuck to this one man, 2015, I get pregnant.
For a married man?
For a married man.
Okay.
So I told him that I'm pregnant, and he gave me 12,000.
Go and abort.
Go and abort. I took the money, went to Gikomba, bought clothes for my child. The rest I went back to the house, bought food, and this time I had already taken my firstborn, so I was living with her. So I took that money, bought food, and bought some clothes, and I never spoke to him again. I continued until the 7th month when my pregnancy, I was so big, the child was so big that I could not carry my own weight. So I started having some complications with the pregnancy. And at 7 months, I had to have an emergency cesarean. And I had an emergency cesarean, and I got my second born, a boy. So I decided to tell him that I delivered. So when I told him that I delivered, he told me, that child is not mine, because when I count the days, those are not 9 months. I just told him, it's okay. I did not tell you that so that I can harass you. I don't even want to be the reason why you and your wife break up. So what I'm going to do is have peace. I will not ask for anything from you. I will never bother you. I will never tell you anything about this child. The day that you will think that you want to know him, you know my number. But if you feel like you do not want to know him at all, kindly keep off. I do not want your marriage to break and then you start saying, Grace is the one who broke my marriage. Keep your wife, keep your kids. I will keep my child.
So this is 2015. You have baby number 1.
Yes.
A different man.
Yes.
Now you have baby number 2 with a married man, and you're living alone.
And I'm living alone. I'm living alone and I'm working. And the place where I'm working, there's this guy.
Another man?
No, this man now comes in. I don't want anything to do with him, but we become very good friends. And apparently my pregnancy tends to love him. Every time I see him, I am happy. If he's not around, I feel sad. And I never used to know why. So what I did is that when I gave birth, my child loved this man so much. Every time they could meet, even my firstborn, the first time they met, she loved him. And my secondborn just loved him out of nowhere. So every time he could carry the secondborn, he was very calm. But if anyone else picked him, he could cry very much. So what happened is that we just became friends. Hi, how are you, Grace? How are the kids? They're okay. This and this. So I got tired in August. I got tired of living, and I told God, I am tired of living. If you don't change the situation, then there is no need of me living. I'll rather just go. And I made this prayer and I told God, I want a new job and I want a husband by the time I get to 30. I don't know where that husband will come from. I don't know where that job will come from, but those 2 things I want. By the time I'm 30, if you don't give me a husband by the time I'm 30, do not bring. Just let me stay with my 2 kids. Just let me struggle with my 2 kids. And the moment I made that prayer, in August 18th, I got a new job where I am now. And in September 2nd, I turned 30. And on the 5th, this man that the office man,
yes,
that has been my friend and my children's friend, comes and tells me, I want to marry you.
Oh, glory to God. So now he has seen you. How long had he known you for?
2 years. He had seen me carry the pregnancy to full term. He has seen me carry the pregnancy till the 7th month. He has helped me with everything. If I cried to him, my house is about to be closed, he sends me money. If I tell him that we don't have food, he gives me money for food. If I tell him that my child is sick, he buys the medicine.
And at the time, he's doing this free of charge.
Free of charge.
So there is no emotional
connection.
There is
no emotional connection. There is no, he does not ask for any incentives. Nothing.
You call them incentives.
I call them. He does not ask for them.
Yes.
Nothing. He just gives and that's it. He doesn't tell me, now let's go to my place. No. He comes and tells me that I do not want a girlfriend. I don't want to date. I want to get married. And I look at him and I'm like, are you for real? Do you know I have 2 kids? And he's like, yeah, I know you have 2 kids. And I'm like, do you know both of them are from different fathers? And he's like, yeah, I know both of them are from different fathers. And I asked him, do you know what people say about me at this workplace? And he's like, yeah, I know. So you still want to marry me? With all those things people are saying that I am loose and I am a prostitute, you still want to marry me, a prostitute and a loose woman? And he says, yes.
Here is a man that followed you closely without any intention.
Yes.
Loved you maybe from afar,
Yes.
but never told you.
Yes.
So studied you for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Proposes September 5th.
Yes.
How was it for you to be accepted? Not necessarily by a man in this regard, but to be accepted by a motherly figure and even a family.
I cried until she was shocked. She asked me, why are you crying? And I told her, if only you knew
What I've been through.
what I've been through, and that I've been looking for a mother who will accept me the way I am, then you will know why I'm crying. And I'm not crying because I have a husband. No, I'm crying because God has been so good to me, regardless of the way I am, regardless of everything that I've done. He has never, the way he said in the Bible that he's the father to the fatherless and the mother to the motherless. He is. And I am a product of that.
Of grace.
Yes.
Which is your name.
Which is my name. I am a
Yes.
product of grace. And that is what made me, it took time for me to accept Christ into my life. But when I sat down and I saw how good God has been to me, I told myself it was not fair for me to live the way I'm living. Yet God has been so faithful to me. I prayed to him even when I was not saved, and he heard my prayer.
Amen.
Why should I not just give my whole life to him? He takes over everything. My children, my husband, my house. And that time, before I did that, I just told God, before you give me a husband, make me be a submissive woman, because I know I am not submissive. I have never been submissive. But break me, mold me, make me to be a submissive woman, and a submissive woman with knowledge and wisdom.
It's been a very emotional time for you because you're even tearing up right now. What I will just conclude and say, I'm fully aware that you went on social media and you followed someone in the prayer group.
Yes.
One of our leaders in the prayer group. Yeah. And you actually then spoke to her and said you wanted to rededicate your life. We want to say thank you for coming here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to call this a wrap right now, and we thank you for staying tuned. If you have listened to Grace's story, we're not just here to encourage you. We are here to tell you that there is a God of second chances. If a man can come and pick her and decide to love her with 2 children from 2 different men, he can do the same thing for you. It is not over until God says it is over. You should never think of suicide, and you should definitely never think of abortion. God loves you. The God of Grace Ndinda is indeed alive. If you're not born again, please repeat this prayer after me. Lord Jesus, come into my heart. Be my God. Be my Savior. Remove my name from the book of death. Write my name in the book of life. I receive you, I believe you, and I love you. If you've prayed that prayer, please find a Bible-believing church near you. Go there and follow Christ. It's time to know God for yourself. God loves you, and see you in our next episode.